I'm Christine Salas, the Healing Touch Professional Association Community Director, and this is our Member in the Spotlight series. And I want to introduce you to Emilia Yonge, who is an HTP-A, a breast cancer mentor, and a healing minister in Katy, Texas. Katy, Texas. She is the owner of Sumantra Holistic Mental Health Support at Katy House of Healing and creator of 4 Elements Energy Mediation. She is also co-volunteer for the HTPA Virtual Book Club and co-leads the HTPA's Houston chapter. Emilia has been a longtime student of Healing Touch and simply loves doing the work in many different ways and settings. Her mission in life is to help improve mental health awareness and care through knowledge and application of energy medicine. So welcome, Emilia.
Hi, Christine. Pleasure to be here.
I'm so happy to have you here and so excited about you sharing more about your Healing Touch journey with us. I know there's so many different things you're doing right now, and I'm excited for you to share that with us. So first, just to start off, I'd love to know just how you came to Healing Touch and what drew you to it.
Well, I actually was introduced to Healing Touch in the 2000s. What happened was I was going through a really difficult time. It was kind of a cataclysmic year for me. And I had dragged myself to a Sufi retreat. And when I was at that retreat, they were doing an exercise to experience the energy field. Of course, at that time, I knew nothing about that sort of thing. And I was paired up with somebody, and it happened about 3 times altogether. And each time I was paired up with someone, I received information through my hands and into my mind's eye. And when I shared my vision, it was always very, very insightful for my partner. And so I talked about it with the instructor, and she referred me to Healing Touch because when I explained to her how sensitive I am, I guess, she suggested that I learn how to ground myself. And so I went ahead and looked up Healing Touch and got into a level 1 class and learned grounding. I went there just for grounding, but it opened up a whole new world for me.
Wonderful. And how has your practice kind of evolved over the years? Tell us a little bit about your practice.
Well, when I first started in the 2000s, after I took levels 1, 2, and 3, I immediately put what I learned into practice because I went ahead and got a license to be a massage therapist. And I ended up doing more energy healing rather than massage therapy. I even was asked to teach at the School of Massage Therapy and Alternative Healing, where I had received my training in massage therapy. And but then I had a very traumatic second pregnancy. Well, actually not the pregnancy, just the delivery was traumatic. And after that, I retreated away from public life and spent the next 15 years just focusing on my family. I was still active and I still informally taught and practiced my healing work, but I did not charge anything. After, however, in 2016, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And after 3 years of going through treatments and actually doing quite well, I was a model patient. I decided that I felt moved to bring energy healing into the clinical landscape here in Houston for the benefit of other patients and survivors and their caregivers. So that was the reason why I returned to Healing Touch, because even though I have my own way of doing healing work, I felt that the Healing Touch program is such a great basic structure for anyone to learn. And it's not just good for beginners, but it's also good for advanced healers. And the fact that it is based on nursing protocol makes it really ideal to bring it as an integrative care into the clinical setting.
Mm, great. Um, I know you have an interesting kind of practice in it at that Katie House of Healing. Can you tell us a little bit about your practice and kind of your connection with other practitioners there?
Yes, the Katie House of Healing is actually a healing hub. So there are four of us women there, and we all get along very well and we support one another. And so I'm the energy healer there, and Sandra is the massage therapist. And we also have an acupuncturist as well as an esthetician. So we all it's kind of almost like a complementary care team. And we all love our work. We're all pretty good at what we do, and we hope to bring more people um, into the fold, not just to work with us, but also well, educating the public about alternative and complementary medicine.
Great. Um, I loved hearing that when you shared that with me prior to us doing this interview of just kind of working together with
Mhm.
other professionals,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
In that setting. That sounds wonderful. Um, so besides your practice, I know there's a lot of other things that you're doing and working on. One of them being your focus on the four elements and the Empower Circle series that you've started. And so I'd love for you to share a little bit more about that.
All right. Well, the four elements energy mediation is basically a distillation of the work that I have been doing since the 2000s. And back in the day when I was teaching energy healing, I was already teaching this basic structure because the four elements is actually um, all healing can really be distilled to these four elements. And I use the elements of air, water, earth, and fire uh, as a tool to help with the visualization of the process. Anyway, so this actually this basic structure is very it's like a scaffolding, I guess, and um, it can be modified to fit different settings and intentions. So I have used it in many different ways. And um, the Empower circles that I started is one of those ways that I use the four elements energy mediation, because I offer that as a free um, event at the turning of the seasons. And I also offer it for the new moon and the full moon as a way to remind us that we can always start over and set a new intention and bring it to fruition. So that's the Empower new moon and full moon, and that's also free and it's live streamed. Um, and then I also am starting a meditative drumming circle at Serene Beans, which is a coffee shop and meeting house in Katy, in Old Katy, as well as a healing drum and dance circle, also in Katy, at CMKD Dance and Fitness. So that's what I'm doing.
Oh, wonderful. And I had the pleasure of doing one of your four elements mediation. And for those of you listening that are interested in those, we will share how you can contact Emilia and how you can learn about all these things that she's doing if you wish to participate. And I strongly recommend you check it out if you haven't yet. So you're also working on a book.
I
So
am.
tell us about that.
Well, the book is about the four elements energy mediation, and I have written part of it, what I thought was going to be half of the book. So basically, it's anecdotal. It's based on my life, leading up to the second half of the book, which would take the four elements and break it down and elaborate on each aspect further. However, because my business has actually taken off a lot faster and further than I had expected, I'm actually very busy right now. So it seems that I will probably not finish the book as early as I thought I would. However, there's going to be a third part to the book because I am now starting a lot of different projects using this system. Therefore, I will be collecting the information, and I will be able to put these aspects into the books, practical applications of the system.
Great. Any idea when you expect to have this book out?
I hope to have it finished by the end of this year, but we shall see. We shall see.
In your spare time, right? With all
Right.
the things you have going.
Exactly.
So the other thing that I know you're doing too is you have a cancer support group that you're
Yes.
going to be starting up again. And you have a video blog for your to share your cancer journey. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, I actually have been blogging sort of about my cancer journey ever since 2016 when I was diagnosed. And so I would like to actually try to put all those published posts into a more readable form. And I'm working on a website to do that. But besides that, I am planning to start in mid-April, kind of like a chronicling of my cancer journey because I was diagnosed in May of 2016, but I discovered the lump in April of 2016. And so when these posts come up in my Facebook feed as memories, I am going to kind of uh, take people again step by step through that journey, kind of reliving what I went through so that I can talk more about that journey for the benefit of others. Yeah. And in the spring, I am planning to start or I should say, restart my breast cancer support group. I used to hold it at Texas Oncology, which is where I received, which is where I had my chemotherapy done. And I also did it at the my Houston surgeons, my plastic surgeons practice, but we had to stop for a few different reasons, and then of course COVID happened. So now I feel ready to restart that again, but I'm hoping to do it at an outdoor location, at a park in Katy, and try to coordinate it with the Walk with a Doc program in Katy, started by the doctor who actually diagnosed my cancer.
Wow.
Mhm.
That is going to be such a support to everyone going through that journey, to have you support them and your doctor there too.
Yes.
That sounds amazing. Um, Great. So the other thing, you have so many things. I don't know how you keep up with it all. It's amazing. So inspiring. So, but the other thing you're doing is you are going to be teaching a class on energy healing with essential oils. And you also mentioned that you could maybe share with us a technique, right, of using healing touch with essential oils
Yeah.
that incorporates the vagus nerve, and particularly how you believe this technique helps support people's mental health during COVID. So I'd love for you to share a little bit about your class and then share this technique with us.
Yes, I'm actually teaching the class tomorrow at community center here in Katy. This is actually where we have our weekly HTPA Houston chapter meetings. Since it's a fifth Saturday, I decided to go ahead and do something special and present this intro to healing with essential oils. Now, I've only just recently I've only just recently got into essential oils, but I mean, I've dabbled in it a little bit in the past, but it never really caught on with me. But through a strange twist of events, I ended up receiving an essential oil massage at a friend's retreat, and it is called the aroma touch technique. And it was the first time that I actually experienced having essential oils dropped onto my spine. And it was really amazing. I guess I am considered a highly sensitive person, and people who know me know this about me. And when I experienced those oils hitting my skin, I saw just this concentric waves of energy just rippling through my energy field. And immediately, physically, I just melted as well. And it and the whole experience was amazing. And after just that one session, I experienced a profound healing for a side effect of chemotherapy that has been plaguing me since 2016 when I had chemo. And a lot of women actually suffer from this particular side effect. And what I noticed after receiving the aroma touch massage was that I no longer have that side effect. And it's been, I think, 2 weeks now, and I still don't have that problem anymore. I've been using the oils regularly, but I have not received another aroma touch technique yet. So it's very effective. And so that's what got me into essential oils. And since that time, and like I said, this was about 2 weeks ago, I've been incorporating essential oils into the work that I do. And with fantastic results. It just enhances the work so much, and it speeds up the healing process. I cannot tell you just how amazing it has been. I've been working on some really heavy cases. Someone who had metastasized cancer, someone who was um, suicidal, and others. So really heavy cases, but um, I introduced the essential oils into the work that I was doing with them already, and it made a huge difference. They are actually way better. I mean, it's like night and day between their first session and the sessions that I have with them now, which has only been a few sessions. It's not been more than 4. So that's how amazing it is. So because of that, I'm very, very um, excited about just sharing this discovery with other healers.
Mm,
Hmm.
wonderful. Yes, essential oils just like you said, I feel like they enhance
Hmm.
the work that we're doing. They're amazing. It's one of those things once you start exploring them a little bit. I think I mentioned this when we were talking before. It's like now I have a wall of them,
Yes, yes,
discovering
absolutely.
more and more.
Absolutely, yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, and they actually match with healing touch so well. Like certain techniques that are indicated for certain, problems. You have an essential oil that does the same thing. So it really boosts the intervention. And also another thing that I want to mention is that again, healing work is a very personal thing. So, in the case of, for example, there are many different energy healing programs out there. So, why did I choose Healing Touch over another one? Well, it's because of the founder, Janet Mentgen. I mean, I met her. When she was still alive, I did actually meet her. But the intention she had for this program, um, which is the foundation of this program, really is it just resonates with me so much. And that's the reason why, even when I was teaching my own way, back in the day, and in a way today as well, I always refer people to the Healing Touch program, because my kind of work is intuitive healing. It's really advanced stuff, and you don't do it unless really that's what you're meant to do, because it has a lot of responsibility. Everything that you say to someone, you don't just say it lightly, okay, because it can really change a person, right? So yeah, so I always refer people to Healing Touch. And um, and again, with the oils, I have been introduced to other essential oil products and lines and all that. But why this one, which is doTERRA? Well, first of all, my friend was the one who introduced me to it. And I really connected so well at the retreat. It was a women's retreat. And believe me, that retreat was so powerful. There have been incredible changes that have happened to the participants there. So anyway, so it was because of that personal relationship with these women that made me go be part of this particular essential oil hub. And also another reason is when they were doing the aroma touch technique on me, we watched a video of the person who created it. I believe, I don't really know that much yet about doTERRA, but it was I think Dr. Hill, the one who founded doTERRA. I'm not sure, but when he was talking about it, it was so moving. I mean, he was in tears. So then that really spoke to me. That moved me. I felt his sincerity and his intention and all that. So then why would I take on something extra again, right? But it's because it spoke to my heart, and that's why I'm using these particular oils. So.
Mhm. Yes, sharing that. So this technique in that you kind of talked about earlier with me, incorporating the vagus nerve and
Mhm.
essential oils. Tell us a little bit about this technique.
Well, actually, it's very simple. Okay, healing touch has this level 1 technique called mind clearing, and it is, oh my goodness, it is one of the best basic healing technique ever. I have used it in so many different ways, and it just addresses so many things. Now, the thing about mind clearing also is that it actually does work on various glands in your body. And it's also actually working on the vagus nerve. For one thing, there is one part of the technique where you're cupping the cheeks, yes. And the thing is that there is the vagus nerve is the longest nerve in the body, and it does connect a lot of glands in the brain, and it also connects at the heart and lungs and the digestive system as well, etc. Right? And it is connected to the autonomic nervous system. And there's a part of the vagus nerve in this area, so there are nerves here that are connected to that. And so when you do this and you're breathing and just calming yourself in this way, you are accessing the vagus nerve and helping to return it to the parasympathetic mode, the rest and relaxation. So away from the fight or flight sympathetic mode. And I highly recommend the course that is offered by Bonnie Thompson and Christy Joy. Okay, Art of Healing Touch, and they have a whole program about the vagus nerve, so they can talk a lot better than I can about that. But it is um, it is very important, I believe, for all healers, because you need to it's a great way to ground. For one thing, grounding is so important for healers, especially if you are sensitive. And even if you didn't start out sensitive, the more you do the work, the more sensitive you become. And as more and more people get into energy medicine, also exponentially, it makes it opens people up. So I highly recommend learning about the vagus nerve, and you can easily incorporate those techniques with healing touch techniques as well, and it helps you to um, to feel safe in your body, and to therefore stay in your body instead of phew, flying off, which a lot of healers do. So anyway, so yeah, so what I have been doing a lot actually is doing mind clearing with essential oils. And the one that I would recommend for boosting the immune system and as protection against COVID would be the doTERRA essential oil called On Guard. And that is very effective for your immune system. So what you would do is you would take that oil and put a drop on the client's hand and have them just rub their hands together like this, and then uh, cup it over their nose and breathe it in like so. And they can do that as many times as they wish, as they're lying there, right? And then you also put some on your hand and breathe it in. Okay, And then, after you do your preparation for doing the healing work, then you can go ahead and begin the mind clearing. And you've got the oil on your hands, right? And they have been breathing it. So uh, that is enhancing the mind clearing. And as you're doing it also, you are uh, just being aware of the intention, right? Which is to support the immune system, but also especially when you are at that stage where you're doing this to the client, think about the vagus nerve. Okay, think about the vagus nerve and calming the person. Oh, and another thing is that when you're doing this, you see this, the point of the V is pointing to the clavicle, I think, right here, right? And that's where the lymphatic ducts are. Okay, like when you do lymphatic drainage massage, you open it up this way, right? So when you're doing the V, besides thinking about the vagus nerve, which you can access through here, you can also think about the lymphatic ducts and the fact that you are also trying to work on the immune system. So, okay. And then what else? So at the end of it, then you can also rub some oil on their hands and their feet. Just again with the intention of helping them to heal, because of course the hands and the feet have reflexology points, which means that you're basically working on the whole body as well. And plus, by ending off with the hands and feet, you're grounding them as well. Okay, so that is basically it. But what I love about it is that right now, right now, there's a lot of emphasis on treatment of COVID, but there isn't really so much talk about prevention. And I believe that, well, if you're just focusing on the treatments, then there's going to be one mutation after another, right? And it's endless. Whereas if you focus on boosting the immune system, then, that I believe is more effective. And also another thing about the mind clearing with the on guard is the fact that mind clearing works on your mental health as well. It addresses the mental health issue of fear. Because to me, what is worse than the COVID virus is the mental virus of fear. Because when you're afraid, your immune system is going to be compromised, because the systems of our body are all connected. We learn the different systems as separate, but that's for study purposes. But the reality of it is not different systems, it's all one thing. And they all are interconnected and affect one another. So I highly recommend working on the mental health issue of releasing fear, so that as part of boosting your immune system. So that's what this technique is about. And actually, if it can be further, you can do more things with it, especially if you are already trained or knowledgeable about essential oils. Then you can use different other oils to address different things, or you could just match it up with whatever the client's presenting issue is, right? Now, if you're not knowledgeable about essential oils, but you're intuitive, then just tap into your intuition and see what oil resonates with the client, and then use that instead of on guard or whatever. And now, if you're neither, if you're not knowledgeable in essential oils or an intuitive, then just pick an oil. You can't go wrong. Talk to someone who knows about oils, read up on it, and just don't be afraid to experiment and explore. So yeah, so that's my little technique to share.
Wonderful. Thank you so much
Mhm.
for sharing that. And the other thing that I like too, when you were talking about the mind clearing, is the self mind clearing, right?
Yes,
We can do
yes,
it ourselves
exactly.
for our own
Yes.
self care, and teaching that to our clients, right? So they
Absolutely.
can
Yes. Yes. Actually, for the class that I'm teaching tomorrow, I am going to demo the mind clearing, but I'm also going to teach them the self mind clearing, possibly modified mind clearing because it's fewer steps. And I will hand out the steps to people for them to practice that self-care on themselves. So
yeah.
yes, I'm excited.
Wonderful. I love it. So you are also one of the leads for our HTPA virtual book club.
Yes.
And I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about how you came to start that, and a little more about the virtual book club.
Well, the virtual book club was actually started up by Emilia Vogler because she was trying to come up with ways to help members to engage with one another when COVID started, because everyone was isolated. There were no in-person stuff, the lockdowns and all that. So that's why she came up with the book club and the virtual chapter. But uh, these two services are so well liked by people that it has continued to this day, and I hope it will continue moving forward. No matter what happens with the whole COVID thing. And I really enjoy hosting or leading the book club, and I am actually now uh, doing it along with Diane Noel, who also had, I think initially when the book club was created, she had thought of it too. So yeah, so she ended up being in the club as well. And when my assistant Rachel, who uh, who moved on from Healing Touch. When she left the book club as my assistant, I asked Diane to go ahead and be my second, and she has been very very helpful. We both enjoy reading books, and um, the I think another reason why the book club is a great resource is because we don't really have a chance during class because we're busy learning to really delve into you know too much detail about people's experiences, as healers, or with certain techniques or whatever. And so when you take a book like, say, Brew Joy's book, right? What was it called again?
Joy's Way.
Joy's Way. There you go, Joy's Way. That is where the technique of the spiral meditation comes from, right? So, when you're learning spiral meditation, it's part of the whole, program, right? So you don't have time to really discuss it, right? But when you've been taught that and you are starting to use it, you practice it, whether you are a student or a practitioner or whatever, then you obviously want to talk about it. Things come up, right? And so when you have that book, you can read all this, in great detail about how Brewjoy came up with it and so forth. And so that really makes you process his experience and also your own experience with it. And then when we get together as healers who love to read, then then it really sparks up a great conversation. And we share our experiences and our insight. And our thoughts on it and everything, and it's just wonderful. It's a great way to connect and also to learn. So it's a great resource. And these meetings are recorded, and they are available on the HTPA website for members to access. They're all archived there, and uh, I will tell you that we have so many experienced veterans of healing touch. They have so much to share. And I have been privileged to have them in the book club, and I learned so much from them. And they're so humble. And that's another thing that I love about healing touch is the humility. And so I really, really highly recommend for people to access those videos, because some of the things um, that people share there is really, really profound and very, very useful, beneficial. So please check it out. I mean, not just for my insight on the books, but the other, like I said, veterans of healing touch, great resource.
Yes, and we're so appreciative for you and Diane continuing to lead those book discussions. And I'm so glad you mentioned the recordings are there. Joy's Way recording is amazing, and it's there for anyone that's missed it live to go and view it.
Mhm.
You all meet the first Monday of the month at
Mhm.
7 p.m. Central, right?
Correct. Mhm.
We do send those the communication out of all the books, and
Mhm.
you have it all planned out for this year for 2022. So that's included in those emails that go out. So you know which books to purchase and
Mhm.
start reading for the discussions. And you can request to be a part of the book club by emailing me. I'm Christine at htprofessionalassociation.com. So I can verify your membership and then add you to the club. So yes, great resource. And I encourage you all to take advantage of that.
Actually, Christine, I do want to say a little bit more about the book club, because the year ahead, we've already planned the books for the year ahead, and I just want to let people know that there are two books there which have been written by members of Healing Touch, or HTPA. And so that's our way of supporting members. So both Diane and I, we believe in supporting writers in our association. And also, because they are members, we have actually scheduled an author interview for those two books.
Great. Um, any challenges, if any, that you want to briefly share with us through your journey?
Yes, the challenge actually is how to have a business and earn money and still maintain the essence of the work. It's really not easy, but it can be done. And there are different ways to do it and different degrees to which you can do it. Now, for me, when I first started, I was a massage therapist, because you have to have a license to touch in order to do the healing work. So that was the way I went about it back then. But when I decided to return to healing touch, I just didn't feel called to renew my massage therapy license and to go about things in that way again. Instead, what I felt was this was more of a spiritual calling. So instead, I went ahead and got a myself ordained as a minister because really that is the essence of my work right now. And the more I do the work, the more I realize, yeah, it's pretty much uh, the the way it is right now. And actually, when I had stopped doing healing work professionally for 15 years, I was not charging. I was specifically not charging because I realized at the end of my professional career back then as a massage therapist and teacher that at that time I was, well, I was developing my own way. And also, when you're doing intuitive work, it's really hard to, I guess, control things, especially at the beginning. And, when and you just want to follow the energy. So I felt that in order to do that, I could not charge people because when you charge people, you promise them a certain set of things, right, to happen, and I couldn't keep myself within those parameters back then. So that's why I decided that maybe I shouldn't charge anything. So then, yeah, and so when I returned to Healing Touch, I was still adamant on sticking to that plan. But then when I met my co-lead for the Healing Touch Houston chapter, and she's a businesswoman, she is a self-made businesswoman. Then I started to rethink things because we had some discussions about it, and then she invited me to learn more about business stuff. So I went ahead and I did that and realized that, hey, wait a minute, I really I understood then that the reason why I had a hard time charging for my work and receiving money was because of a very deep-seated trauma from way, way back, which led me to feel that I was not good enough. So I healed that particular issue, and then that was when I went ahead and proclaimed myself to be a businesswoman. And ever since I did that, it's like everything just fell into place. So perhaps I was meant to do that all along. And also another thing that got me into the business was my father passing away last year in July, and it was from COVID in Indonesia. And for me, the tragedy was not that he passed away, but that he lived the last year and a half of his life in fear. Now, another thing is that when he was during his last days, since I couldn't be there, I supported him through distance healing. But I also reached out to the rest of HTP-A and everyone. I mean, so many people. You yourself, Christine, uh, contributed to helping me do that. And so, night and day, we were having a vigil for my father. And in the end, he passed away. And it was a good passing away. I definitely experienced. I saw what happened, and it was the best that I could have asked for him. So, and I named my business after him, and Sumantra means good prayer. So anyway, um, and since that time, I have been obviously learning about how to do business, right? And so, it's still a process. I'm still at the very beginning of how to balance these two things. And what I'm noticing right now is that Well, I think this is a conversation for another day because I have lots to say about that, and maybe I'll make a video blog series on that. So I can't talk about it right now because it'll be too much. I'll be rambling. So yeah, so there you go.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's a common challenge, right? That we have as healers, the business part of it, right? And figuring that
Mm-mm,
part out in
mm-mm.
order to continue to do what
Yes.
our heart, right? To help people
Exactly,
heal.
exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's an important topic. So I shall explore that in my video blog series. Oh boy.
Amelia, where can our members contact you if they want to find out more about all these wonderful things you're offering?
Well, I am in the process of creating a website called themwoman.com. And that will have all of my various uh, interests and, dabblings and whatever in one place. I don't know if it's going to be up by the time this video is published, but it'll be very soon. So hopefully before spring. And then that's where I would like people to find me when that comes up. But in the meantime, you can easily find me because I'm quite active in social media. Although not as active as I was before I started working, but still, there's enough there. And so you can find me on Facebook as Emilia Wahili Ongteo. And I know that's just very hard to remember or spell, but you can look it up via my personal email, which is emilia.young@gmail.com. And um, that actually is the most up to date because that's how I keep in touch with my friends and family. And the lady who actually introduced me to Facebook was a very close friend of mine who died from stage 4 breast cancer. And actually, she passed away when I was diagnosed. It's like pretty much, passing on the baton. And she was blogging about her journey. Anyway, so Facebook, and then I'm also on Instagram as I think at Emilia Comes with War. And I also have a Patreon account, patreon.com slash, or what is that, slash, yes. um, Emilia Comes with War. Emilia Comes with War is the translation of Emilia Wakili Oncteo, and that is an Apache name that was given to me uh, by my battle buddy when I was briefly in the army, U.S. Army. That's a story for another day. And and let's see, where else can you find me? So, oh yes, I have a YouTube channel which is Emilia Comes with War, and that's where I have the live streams for the Empower Circles for the changing of the seasons, as well as the new moon and the full moon. If you miss it at the time of the event, it does replay. Those circles are also live streamed on my Facebook page and or Facebook profile timeline. We also have a Facebook page for HTPA.htx. So that's the Houston chapter of HTPA. And yeah, I think I covered everything. I have a blog called brokenbeautiful.blog, and there's material in there which is interesting. So you can check that out. But eventually that blog is going to be moved to the new website. So
Wonderful. And we will make sure to list all of these ways to contact you in our with this video, so people will be able to contact you. And Emilia, thank you so much for being here and sharing your healing touch journey with me and all the other HTPA members. The work you're doing is truly inspiring, and so glad to have you share that with us.
Thank you.
For our listeners, if you wish to nominate someone for the Member in the Spotlight series, we do have a nomination form on the HTPA Member in the Spotlight page. So please feel free to check that out and fill out the form, which then gets sent to me. We hope you enjoyed hearing Emilia's story. I know I sure did. And thank you for listening. And again, thank you so much, Emilia.
You're welcome. It was my pleasure. Bye.